There's a sleeping killer on your R9T, a component that can fail with dramatic results. Overlooking this critical mechanical device greatly increases the risk of you getting seriously hurt or worse. It can slowly and unnoticeably begin to fail. Relying on annual vehicle safety inspections may not be enough. It can experience sudden and catastrophic failure, so it's up to you to include it in your pre-ride checks. Are you doing pre-ride checks? And if so, what's on your checklist? And does it include a steering damper? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are covering an extremely important yet often neglected component of your steering. The steering damper. How it can fail and how to avoid a nasty tank slapper or crash. We're all familiar with the front forks of our bike. They are easy to see and feel while riding. They provide us with a gentle ride over bumps and dips in the road through their damping of vertical motion, the up and down of the front wheel. A steering damper is a device that works in a similar way. The main difference is that instead of damping vertical motion, a steering damper dampens horizontal steering motion, the left and right movement of your handlebars. On many bikes, the steering damper is located in an obvious position directly between the handlebars and the front or side of the tank. This makes it easy to check, automatically seeing obvious problems. But due to the retro nature of the R9T, its steering damper was designed to be placed out of sight in front of the oil cooler under the triple tree. Unless you consciously choose to look there, it's out of sight and out of mind. Technically you can ride just fine without a steering damper. Well, that is until the side of your front tyre clips a cat's eye or catches on the edge of a rough patch of road. This can upset the natural ability for your front tyre to track straight. Ever wondered why you can take your hands off your handlebars on any two-wheel bike, be it your mountain bike or motorcycle, and the front wheel tracks straight? Even if your front wheel was pushed to the side, the centrifugal force of the wheel's rotating mass would constantly adjust, trying to keep the wheel upright and tracking straight. When you clip a cat's eye, a rough groove or rail in the road, unload your front wheel coming out of a corner, not to forget to mention a poorly landed wheelie or incorrect tyre pressures and misaligned forks, etc., the wheel tries to track straight. Unfortunately, due to the inertia, that can result in an overcorrection in the opposite direction. This initiates what is known as the head shake. As the wheel continues to overcorrect, the handlebars whip violently left and right, which can very quickly become extreme, turning into the dreaded full-on tank slapper, where the handlebars can reach the left and right lockout positions in rapid succession. Worse still, this movement is self-energizing, meaning unless quickly acted on, it will get worse. Unfortunately, the natural tendency as a novice rider is to hold on tight and attempt to control the movement, which counterintuitively and ironically is the worst thing you could do. On a straight road it's scary, but through a corner it raises adrenaline to stratospheric levels. Of course, it would be nice to mitigate the risk of this phenomena, and that is what a functioning steering damper tries to achieve, especially on short wheelbase bikes with sporty steering geometry such as the R9T. Hence why you should add a steering damper to your pre-ride checks. A steering damper is made up of a few core components. A rod, inside you'll find a needle, and there's two oil chambers here you can see at the top and the bottom. Often an adjustable valve is also included, like in this one here, and of course inside you've got the oil. The only thing keeping the oil in the component is the rubber seals at each end of the damper body, which join to the rods. These seals over time can begin to fail, and in some cases the slow failure initially is not that noticeable, but then those seals can go from slowly failing to catastrophically and suddenly failing, allowing the oil to escape the damper body, reducing within milliseconds the damper effect of your steering to zero. This sudden change in steering characteristics while riding can cause a serious accident, but a failing steering damper needn't be an issue at all. You just need to add it to your pre-ride checks. Checking your steering damper is easy and quick. Simply get down low near your oil cooler and have a look at those seals at each end of the damper itself and confirm that there is no oil escaping. Oil normally shows as a dusty, oily buildup near the seals and over the rods. During a check you should ask yourself the following questions. Is there any oil buildup? Is there any free play, and are the bolts loose themselves? Is the damper rod sticking? And finally, is the rod pitted or corroded? So it failed one of the 5 checks. How do you fix it? Well, unfortunately the OE steering damper is not a serviceable item. So unless your issue is just loose bolts requiring retightening, then you'll need to buy a new damper. If for some reason you have a non-OE adjustable damper, before throwing it in the bin, you are likely to find out that you can actually rebuild it. So drop it into your local suspension specialist and they'll rebuild it as good as new for a fraction of the price of a new one. I hope this information was useful to you, and if it was, then you might also like this video right here.